morning, everybody. So, I was having my little devotional this morning after a pretty rough start. I'll get into that in a minute. So let's talk about this rough start. So my little eyes popped open at 5:48 this morning. I looked over at the clock incredulously and said, "Honey." Ah! He hopped up. He looked at the clock. And I mean, he went this way, I went that way. The dogs were all freaked out, so they were... 10 minutes later, he was zooming out the door and heading to work. He ended up being 15 minutes late. The man has not done that in better than 10 years. It is against everything he stands for. His ethics do not allow him to be late or to slack, to ride the clock in any way, shape, or form. So he's all freaked out, and he told his new boss, he's 3 weeks in, he told his new boss, said, "Look, man, I will make up the time in triplicate." And his boss looked at him and said, "Don't worry about it." Okay. Joel is his own worst critic. He holds himself to a very high standard. We both do. That's just who we are. Oh, look. That is a huge snake. He's harmless. He's a black snake, but man, he's big. He's just scooting across the yard. Okie dokie. Anyway, part of living out in the woods, right? So after he left, I had my little devotional, and I stumbled on something that was, well, first of all, I don't think I stumbled on it. I think there was a reason why I was directed to it. It's where Jesus is talking about it's far better to be hated by the world and loved by God. And that got me thinking. You know, here I am doing the social media thing, the YouTube thing. And so far, it's been fun. I get a lot out of watching other channels. I learn a ton. And there have been some other YouTubers around here locally who have been very encouraging and so helpful. And I appreciate them. But by and large, I'm stumbling and tripping through this on my own, which is how I roll. That's how I learn things. But I was watching a channel last night, and they profess to be Christian, and I'm sure that they try. It's not my job to judge anybody for anything. But they were attacking other channels that they perceived had offended them years ago. And it got me thinking, you know, we're living in a world now where people are so easily offended. Easily offended and no communication about it. And I think social media has a lot to do with the breakdown of personal communication. You know, it's easy to sit behind your keyboard or behind a camera and bash somebody that you, I mean, if you met them on the street, if you saw them out in public, you darn sure wouldn't behave that way, or I would hope not anyway. But it got me to thinking. We started our channel as a way to chronicle this incredible journey that we jumped into in March. It's important for us to be able to look back on it. It's important to us because we know there will come a day when it'll be important to be able to look back and see what we did. Whether you agree with it or not, walking away from something that has been your entire life for decades and just jumping into the abyss of the unknown. It's either courageous or it's crazy. The jury is still out on which we are. I like to think of us as being kind of courageous. Excuse me. Ragweed's bad this time of year. Anyway, we didn't start this to be part of a crowd or a clique or a clan. We started this in the hopes that we could develop a nice community and chronicle our journey along the way. We're making memories every day. And thanks to the power of technology, it's so easy to keep a running dialogue of things that you would maybe forget about years on down the road. These days are important. They're important. Every single one of them is important in its own way. So we want to keep a log of it. Hopefully we're going to bring some entertainment value along the way, which is another thing that got me thinking today. I want to start a podcast. I want to know what your input is. I want to know what you think about that. I think a podcast it would be fun. It's more gizmos to learn. It's more technology to learn. But years and years and years ago, I started out in broadcast journalism. I thought that's where I wanted to be. Okay. I've been everything but that. But I have some basic knowledge of how these things work. But I'd like to hear from you. Drop a comment or something down below and tell me what you think. Think it's a good idea, bad idea? Got some tips, hints, tricks? Any of the above? None? That's okay too. If you want to just drop a comment to start a dialogue, that's okay too. That's what we're into. We kind of want to improve communication within our community, whether that's our YouTube community or our physical community. We're pretty good at blending into our physical community. We're acclimating and we're assimilating, and it's fun. It's easier for me because I used to live here, so I'm familiar with the nuances that make up this area. Joel he is completely absorbed into it. I think he was born to be here. I really do. There are things that he's having to learn. He's always been in the city. So he's learning. But to watch him in his daily routine around here, you would think that he had been here his whole life. And he's very impressive with how much he has picked up on things. There are little things like don't leave dog food out. But, he's so full of common sense that this is just kind of a no-brainer for him. Anyway, I'm thinking about doing a podcast. And it's going to be kind of a springboard off of my writing. I'm a freelance writer. I'm working on my first book. I started writing it in 2022 with the idea that I was going to have it done and completed and published by Christmas last year. That didn't happen. We had a lot of stuff going on at the tail end of 22 and then into the beginning part of 23. And of course, March 2nd or 3rd, whatever that was, God smacked me upside the pointed head in the middle of the night, woke me up. I was a mess. I heard loud and clear, sell it and get out of here. Get out of here. And I told Joel, and we're sitting there. It was like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I told him, I said, no, loud and clear. This is what we have to do. And he said, you know what? I'm willing. Let's go. Okay. Oh, hummingbird ward right outside the window. I better check the feeder. So you guys know the rest if you've seen our earlier videos that we tell the story of how we landed where we landed. If you haven't, feel free, go back and watch them. There aren't a whole lot of videos you have to scroll backwards through because we are brand new. Anyway, the writing is a fun thing for me. I'm getting back into it. We still live in a construction zone. If you can see anything behind me, you can tell that, yeah, we're living in a construction zone. Fine with that. We're making progress, so this isn't a forever thing. We don't live like this normally. But for right now, it is our normal. But getting back into writing, it may be a lofty goal, but I hope to be published by January. I've got about 6 more chapters I've got to knock out. And if any of you are old enough to remember, I have been, my writing style has been compared to Irma Bombeck. If you're not familiar with her work, Google her. She's a stitch. She's funny. My style is very similar to that, in that I talk about the mundane, day-to-day comical genius of life. I mean, there are so many things that happen every day that just have me rolling. We have 4 giant breed dogs. The 2 biggest are 150 pounds apiece. They are clumsy, they are klutzy, they are derpy goofballs. They're 150 pounds apiece, like I said, and they're still puppies. And they're boys who have discovered boy things. Anyway. So it gets very interesting up in here. And we have the 3 cats. You've seen them all, but everybody gets along great until there's chaos in their environment, like it was this morning. Fur was flying. They didn't know what was going on. It was crazy. Such is our day-to-day. Anyway, so my writing focuses on the simple day-to-day things, otherwise mundane, but I find them to be hilarious. I work every day to find something to smile about. I've always got that attitude of gratitude. I think that's important too. Certainly is for me. Well, guys, that's kind of where I'm at this morning. I need to get back to work and finish my chores. Thanks for hanging out with me again. If you have any questions or any comments, feel free to drop them. I'm pretty much an open book. So anyway, I'll talk to you a little on later down the road. Y'all have a great day today. We're easing up into the weekend, I hope, for everybody. Have a great one. Be safe. Stay hydrated. And yeah, keep that attitude of gratitude. And don't forget to look up and say thank you as you're going forward on your goals. Okay, I'm out. See ya.